Hi there and welcome back. So bloomborrow came out yesterday there were some problems with the server, so we didn't get to play much, but I did open all the packs that we got. And as you can see, I put all my gold into getting some packs extra. So we now have 16 rares and 7 mythics still available. I already used some commons and uncommons today, but we still have more than enough. So we noticed with our previous decks that low to the ground seem to work pretty well, which is why we built this deck and we tested the strategy with it. Meanwhile, I have been doing some minor modifications to the deck. In fact, I have changed some cards and added in 3 cards. Oscillith's Shattered Spire, I already had 2 of them in my collection. Seeing as it's an artifact, I think it's a really nice card to add into the deck. And also it pumps a lot of my creatures, which makes it a very interesting addition. Second card is Tarian's Soul Cleaver. Again, it fits really nicely with our artifact theme in the deck, and I've put it in, already tested it a few times, and it really can explode unexpectedly. So that's a really nice card. The newest addition to the deck is this one, Whiskervale Forerunner. Haven't tested it yet. Right now I have 3 copies of it, if I remember correctly. Yes, 3 copies. One of them was in a deck that we got, and the other 2 with the boosters. I think this is an interesting card to play, and I'm really interested in seeing what it does in this deck, seeing as if we target it with a spell or ability for the first time each turn, look at the top 5 cards of your library, and you may reveal a creature card with mana 3 or less from among them. Now, the interesting thing is all of our creatures are 3 or less except for this one. Also, we have a lot of ways to interact and target it. First of all, we have the Fortune Loyal Steed, which we can use. Secondly, we have the Yotian Dissident that we can use to target it. And of course, we also have the Equipability and the Oscillith. So I'm thinking we have enough ways to target it and to get some production out of it. So I'm really curious to see what this card does. Right now I've only put 1 in there. I am definitely considering maybe a few more, but it is a higher cost in mana, seeing as it's going to be the most expensive mana cost in the deck. So right now I'm just testing 1 to see what it does. Just hoping to get to see it a few times in action and then to determine what I think of the card. So let's save that. Then Journey 1, which had a lot of cards that rotated out. I have been tweaking it a little bit, and I think I might have come up with a strategy to save this deck. First of all, I put in 2 cult conscripts because I know they really are good, and we have a lot of ways of bringing them back. Secondly, we put in Cash Grab. This card might be a good option instead of the Gloom Shrieker that we used to play. First of all, it does allow us to bring a permanent from the milled cards into our hand. And even though we don't have a squirrel in the deck yet, there might be some interesting interactions here in the future. Except for that, I've put in 2 Eater of Souls because I think the life gain might be very interesting here. We do have a lot of tokens. Those tokens would theoretically become food tokens as well, which could get us a lot of life. So I'm actually quite interested in seeing what this deck can do. There is 1 more card that I'm considering in this deck, but I'm not really sure if we're gonna do it yet. I don't think I have any copies of it yet, or I might have 1. Let's see here. Yes, I do have 1 of them. It's this card, Starscape Cleric. Whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. Now, right now I don't have too much life gain in this deck, but if I can come up with some way of getting a lot of life gain out of this deck, I think it might be an interesting move to play this card. I've already seen it in action once or twice, and it can definitely explode. So it's a card in the back of my mind. I'm definitely going to keep an eye on it. Then we have Journey Build 5, which was our original deck with a Laughing Jasper Flint. I still want to play him, but now I'm going to go a lot lower to the ground with this deck. So as you can see, the highest mana cost in this deck is 3. It's only a few cards, and those cards are very interesting. First of all, Laughing Jasper Flint that we've already seen in action, which allows us to maybe sometimes use cards from our opponents. I really like that. Valley Flamecaller. This one interacts with lizards, mouse, otter, and raccoon. Whenever they deal damage to permanent or player, it deals that much plus 1 instead. Now, why is this interesting? First of all, Jasper Flint is a lizard, so already we have interaction there, even though it's minimal. But why is this interesting? Because we are going to play mice. I'm actually looking at a lot of mice. First of all, Manifold Mouse. I have 2 of them already. I think this could be an interesting card to play, as I can choose Double Strike or Trample, and if we can put it in mid-game with Offspring, then suddenly we have that ability twice. It can get out of control pretty fast, I think. Then there is another mouse that got my attention. Where is he? Here we go. Let's show him up a little bit. Heartfire Hero. It's a 1/1 Valiant. So whenever it becomes a target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a 1/1 counter on it. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. That reminded me a lot of a goblin I have played in the past, which is this one, Cacophony Scamp, which deals whenever it deals damage to a player, you may sacrifice it if you do proliferate, but when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. So basically, we have 2 low to the ground creatures that can do damage to any target, or in this case, only to an opponent. But still, we can do a lot of serious damage very low to the ground whenever they die. So that's an interesting card to play. Having said that, there are some other new cards that came out that got my attention. Like I said, I did invest a few uncommons and commons today. Rabbit Gnaw, I think, is a really interesting card. First of all, it would work really well with Heartfire Hero, I think, because it would make it a 3/2 just by playing this card on Heartfire Hero, and Heartfire Hero would also deal 3 damage to target creature we don't control. So it's kind of like a mini removal and a boost for the Heartfire Hero on the same. It would also boost the Cacophony Scamp. It will make it a 2/1, but again, it would deal 2 damage to any target. So I think that's interesting. Like I said, we have Manifold Mouse. Imagine what would happen if this one gets a decent boost, and then we can give it Trample or Double Strike, or Trample and Double Strike at the same time. That could be very interesting. Then we have Might of the Meek. We are playing a few mice, so right now I have 3 out of this card in the deck, but I'm a little bit afraid we're not playing enough mice to really pull this one off yet. If that's the case, we could take it out, or we could look for some more mice to play. Having said that, Felonious Rage, that's a card that's been played quite a lot recently. We're also seeing it in the Slick Shot decks. The interesting thing about this is it gives us a boost again, and it also provides us with a 2/2 token in case the creature dies. Dreadmaw's Ire, again a boost card. Giving a creature trample whenever it deals combat damage to a player, destroy target artifact that player controls. Considering the number of artifacts out there, I really think this is a card that we should be playing all out. So I'm going to do this. And then 2 black cards. First of all, until end of turn, target creature you control gets +1/+1, and target creature an opponent control gets -1/-1. -1 might not seem like much, but put this one on our mighty little mouse, and suddenly we have a 3/3 mouse, and our opponent gets -1/-1 on one of his creatures. So that's a difference of 4 or 3 just for playing a 1-mana card, so that's pretty decent, I think. And last but not least, Ashnod's Intervention. This is a card I'm definitely considering playing in this deck as well, seeing as it also gives us a boost. And when the creature dies, we can bring it back to our hand. There are cards that will bring them back to the battlefield, and I have considered playing them, but they don't give a boost. And considering that giving a boost with these kind of cards, I think Ashnod's Intervention might be a better choice. Having said that, yeah, I definitely think we're not playing enough mice right now, so I think we better take Might of the Meek out and put that one in. Last card we're still playing, you've probably noticed right now, it's a staple of mine, Urbrask Forge. Urbrask Forge, I really like that card because it's constant pressure on the table. And then there we have it. So we are looking at a low to the ground deck, and I'm hoping this one will do some damage as well. So those are the 3 decks we're looking at right now. We do have these decks here as well, which I've made a little bit lower to the ground, but with a little bit of power later on. So what did I put in here? First of all, Picnic Ruiner, as it is a really powerful card. Both the sorcery can be useful as well as the creature itself, and we do have a lot of ways to pump our creatures. How do we pump them? Felonious Rage, only have 2 in the deck right now. We could change that in the future, but right now I think that's enough. We have Aloe Alchemist. Plotting him would automatically pump one of our creatures above the power 4 that we need, which is why I said Felonious Rage, 2 of them might be enough, because already we have 6 cards that can do that. Then another card that actually already has power 4 when we can play it for 3 is Yavimaya Iconoclast. Again, this has really nice interaction with Picnic Rune, so this one is interesting as well. Then we have Ruby Daring Tracker. This one provides us with easy mana, and also it can get a +2/+2 boost when we have creatures with power 4 or greater, which we've already seen we have pretty decently. Got a Soul Cauldron, bringing creatures out of the graveyard would put a 1/1 counter on one of our creatures, and suddenly we have a lot of easy creatures with power 4. Outcast Greenblade, keeping it in there to have a decent constant supply of lands, and I think it helps with consistency, and just putting the deserts in there means that the Outcast Greenblade is going to get to power 4 very fast, again working very well with the other cards. Keeping 2 Free-Stranded Lookouts in there, so we came from 4, I've gone down to 2. I still think it's a really decent card, it's a really good card, but keeping the deck a little bit low to the ground, I think cutting 2 3 mana cost cards was not a bad choice, so I'm trying that now. Again, my stable card, Urbrask Forge, and then for the heavy hitters, we are going for the Colossal Rattleworm, which not only is a 6/5 that we most of the time can actually play with Flash, but if it's in the graveyard, we can actually search our library for a desert and put it onto the battlefield tapped. It's also a card that I'm considering in Journey 1 for the deck with the Insidious Roots. as exiling this card from the graveyard would create a token and we would get a land as well. So I think that's a really good card to consider, and it would give us some extra power on the board. Kokla and Yidaro. First of all, always useful to have something against artifacts and enchantments. Even though it's only 2 cards, I think it's still worth it. With the constant supply of mana that we should be getting, I'm pretty confident that late games we can play this one. It's a 7/7. It can be used to fight other creatures. It does have trample and haste if we want it. And for 4, we can just draw a card and destroy an artifact or an enchantment. Last card in here is Cease and Desist. First of all, targeting your opponent's graveyard and taking out some irritating or annoying cards is always useful. It's an instant, so that means those creatures that can turn into lands and from lands back into creatures, we could technically get rid of them on the moment they hit the graveyard, which is one of the options for this. Also, it provides us with 2 life gain and card draw for just 2 mana, so it's pretty decent. But most importantly, it's actually the Desist that I'm more interested in, destroying all artifacts and enchantments. For us, that would mean losing, I got a Soul Cauldron, but if we're in a case, and maybe the Forge, but if we're in a case that we really need it, then I'm willing to do that sacrifice. So I'm hoping that deck would work as well. So those are the 4 decks that we have available already after our rotation. We are back at silver, and let's get to work. Let's start with the mice. 1 mouse, 2 mouse, 3 mice. So I'm really curious to see what this deck does. I haven't tested it yet, so let's see what it does for us. We have our mana. We have Cacophony. Let's keep this one and say hello to our opponent. Yeah, let's put the Goblin into play. There's a good chance that next turn we could actually... Yeah, well, he's probably gonna go for the Jasper Flint. Yeah, there he went. I like. All attack. 1 attacker. And let's just do 1 more. Are we going to sacrifice it? Yeah, let's take action. Let's just hit him for another 5. We could have done the Deep Cavern Bat. That might have been the smart choice. We'll see. Yeah, that would have been the smarter choice here. On the other hand, with the other Deep Cavern Bat, he would have just gotten it out of my hand anyway, so I think that was an okay move. Let's see what happens here. He's regaining some life, but let's see if we can't do something about that. So yeah, I'm not seeing any mice right now, but I don't have that many mice in the deck, so I have to admit that's not really something I like at the moment. Let's see. Yeah, we can get any basic land we want. Let's just take a swamp. Let's just take a swamp here. And then let's attack him for 2. Unless he has some kind of creature removal, which he might have. Let's see what happens here. So we might be a little bit low on creatures. I'm not really sure yet. We're going to have to wait and see in this deck. Yeah. So let's put this one here. Our biggest advantage so far seems to be that he isn't drawing any land, which I'm really happy to see. There comes some kind of removal. There we go. That's a third land. Now we might have some more removal to get rid of the Jasper Flint. If that's the case, we're starting to get into trouble here. Yeah, there we go. That's Jasper Flint number 2. So we've got one left. This is not what we needed. We seem to be drawing too much land here. And we only have 22 in the deck, so I'm a little surprised by that, to be honest. Yeah, we're getting into trouble now. Here comes Sheldred. Oh, no. Alright. Yeah, more creatures. Yeah, let's put this one in. All attack. Let's do this here. Let's see what our opponent has in mind. Nothing. Okay. Let's put the Jasper Flint in play as well. We are seriously behind on life. He does have a better board presence than we do, so it's not over yet, not by a long shot. It all depends on what our opponent does this turn, and then we might have one more after this, but I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. Jasper Flint is a threatening card for him, so he might have to deal with it. Ooh, interesting. Haven't seen that one yet. Saggers and I'm not discards a card. Yeah, we don't really have a choice, do we? Lose 4 life. And then we lost the game here. Good game. Problem was, even if we had sacrificed the Jasper Flint, we would have lost anyway. And I wasn't willing to do the Orobrask Forge because that would have cost us the game along the way as well. So, yeah. Haven't really seen much from this deck yet. I think it has potential. We just need to find the right balance. Just not sure exactly how to build that deck yet. I think there's a lot of possibility in there, but let's see what we can do. Yeah, let's keep this. He's going first, so we're a little bit slow. Maybe we would need to put in a few more creatures just to get the balance right, and a little bit, and cut a few of the instants and sorceries. Not really sure here yet. Or we might just have to go all in on the small creatures and take out the Jasper Flint. Not really sure what direction to go here right now. I'm thinking about keeping this if I can for another 2 turns and then play it for 4. But it would depend on what our opponent does. Oof, yeah. So that was what I was hoping he wouldn't do. But yeah, Deep Cavern of Bat is definitely a good early game card. Really, it's a card that I understand people are playing. I played it a few times myself, so mid range I would definitely consider this card. Um, just not sure in what strategy I would put him right now. So could this be a bad life gain deck? It's not impossible. Let's put the Jasper Flint in here. It could actually be a bad life gain deck. Would make sense actually. With the other bat we looked at before that says whenever you gain life, an opponent loses that much life, or loses 1 life. This could actually have some really interesting interaction. I think bloomborrow is going to shape up the format quite seriously. Yeah, nothing we can do about that. Yeah, let's see what we get. So the more that I test Jasper Flint, the more that I feel like he's actually a card that should be played in a mid-range control type build. Let's see what he's gonna do. Yeah, all right. So the life gain build, definitely something to look out for. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. I've seen this one in action as well. Those bat decks are really interesting to look at. Yeah, let's just wish him a good game here and concede. So yeah, that's the second time I came up against a bat deck like this, and they really are impressive to play against. So yeah, I'm probably gonna look into that. So my first thought is this deck just doesn't have enough creatures. We can't put enough threat on the table to push an opponent into some direction. I'm really starting to think this needs to go into a control build and not to an aggro build. So yeah, that's been decided. Let's try this one. Let's see if this change has worked. So like I said, we're going to try this deck now. This was a very consistent deck before the rotation. Now that rotation happened, I had to do some serious changes to the deck. One of the cards going out was Gloomshrieker, which provided me with a lot of consistency. So I'm a little bit worried what this deck is going to do without it. Also, we still have some lands coming to play tapped, but the Riveteers that we used to get access to all 3 types of colors, well, they're out of the game now. So yeah, I am a little bit worried what this deck is going to do, but let's see. Let's put the Acre Drinker in here. Provides us with a blocker, then Insidious Roots, and then, if we're lucky, another land. And that will be a decent start. That's the Slick Shot. Yep, there we go. That's the Slick Shot. We might as well just block. Insidious Roots. But we are in trouble, definitely. Yeah, that's the Slick Shot. That was what was expected. So the Slick Shot decks, they are one-trick ponies, but they work really, really well. As you can see, we're already at 6, and it's just turn 3. And if it hadn't been for our Acre Drinkers, we would have been in a much worse shape. So yeah, this is probably game. I'm going to mill. Yeah, we're not milling anything decent here. Best we can do is put another life gainer into play, and that would be it. And this one as well. But we're not in a good spot here. That's for sure. If he can hit us for 6 in the air, we can't block and we lose. That's 4. And that's 6. Good game, my friend. Good game. Just hit us in the air and you win. Yeah. So that was it. Looks like the basic concept might still work. Just not really sure how well it works. Yeah, this deck still might work in the overall scheme of things, but I'm not really sure yet what to think of it. Let's keep this one. Say hello to our opponent here. Yeah, let's start with a scry. Yeah, put this one in the graveyard, then we have our mana. And we could, in theory, bring back any permanent we want. Yeah, that's the one we want. All attack. This is definitely interesting now. Let's put this one into play. And this one. Well, meteorite. Yeah, let's just attack with one and let's end it there. So we have the Yigra next turn if we want. Yeah. Let's put the Yigra in here. Let's not attack this turn. So he needs to sacrifice a food. Alright. So it does have 3 stun counters on it. I can live with that because we do have a Thrill Seeker just in case we need it. And that does change things quite a bit. Yep, there we go. So, are we going to put the Thrill Seeker? No, we are not. Let's put those 2 down. Let's take this one out of the graveyard. Why not? Let's put it on this one. Let's go to combat. He's probably not going to block. If he does, I'm happy. If he doesn't, that's fine with me as well. Thank you, my friend. So, that was exactly what I was hoping for him to do. Done. And let's end the turn here. So I'm really interested in seeing what he's going to do now. Because don't forget, we can get rid of the artifact if we want. We're not going to block. No reason to block here. Like I said, we can get rid of this one very easily. Because, there we go, haywire. We don't need the restless. Yeah, we could have kept that one on top. So yeah, seems like the basic concept of this deck still works. It's just a matter of getting the consistency right, but I think it could work. And we could continue playing this deck. Then let's play the last deck for tonight. It's this one, or maybe we might play this one as well. Our artifact deck. Actually, a deck that I rather like. I'm definitely looking into upgrading it and improving it. I'm not really sure what direction I'm going to go with it yet, but definitely a deck that I like to play with, and I'm going to look into. The bat concept seems to be very consistent as well. I think we might look into that one as well. Let's mulligan here. Oof, we are definitely not getting the mana we need. No, we really do need some mana here. We do get to go first. Right now, we basically have no cards we can play early game, which for this deck is a disaster. So no real choice here but to mulligan. I really am struggling about this card. It's a really good card, especially the fact that we get card draw and your opponent can't react in your turn. That makes it really powerful. On the other hand, it's not an artifact, and it doesn't really do anything for our artifact deck, except draw us cards, so I'm not really sure what to think of that. Fortune Loyal Steed, again a card that I'm a little bit struggling with. The fact that we can blink artifacts makes it really interesting. Like for example with Tough Cookie and Eccentric here, those are cards that definitely interact well with him, but he might be a little bit slow. So why is our opponent taking so long here? Is he away from keyboard? What's going on? Can't be that hard to choose 7 cards or not. But seeing as we're looking at a low to the ground aggressive style deck here, we definitely need cards we can play the first 2 turns. So like I said, we're going to mulligan. That's much better. We're going to keep 5. Nope. And this is a tough one. This is a really tough one here. This really is a tough one. I'm going to cut the land. Hello. Let's start with a scry. Yeah, we can play it, so let's keep it. And let's say hello to our opponent and wish him a good game. So why did I keep the Tough Cookie and these cards and not the third land? First of all, because we did have a scry. Oh, for Surveil. Sorry about that. Surveil, not scry. But also the interaction between these cards. So next turn I'm hoping to play Mandible Judiciaire, and then either Market Gnome or Tough Cookie after that. Probably the Tough Cookie. I'm hoping we might actually even get another land, and then we can play both the Gnome as well as the Tough Cookie. But we're just going to have to wait and see. So he's taking a long time again. Easy money? Well, if you like making money, go ahead. Alright. That was a victory that we didn't really fight for. So let's just play it again and let's see if our next opponent is a little more interesting to play against. So once I get these 750 gold, we have a little over 3,000 gold again. I'm just going to buy 3 more boosters, giving us access to some more cards, and yeah. So not the perfect early game, but let's keep it anyway. We do have the Ocelot, we do have the Tough Cookie, we have a Sir Ginger and the Annex entry, so it could be an interesting game, depending on what we draw. These cards do come into play tapped, but yeah, let's keep that. Why am I keeping that one on top? Then I can play this one, and I have a blocker here. He does have a flyer, but I'm okay with flyers. And then next turn, I'm hoping for a decent turn. Yep. There we go. Let's put this one into play. Incubator. No. Attacks. So let's hope for a land, and then with the Ocelith and the Incubator, we would have a 4/4 token, which would be a really nice step up. Yeah, that wasn't completely unexpected, but on the other hand, we still get to play two cards here. No attacks. He might get rid of the Inquisitor again. I wouldn't fault him for it, to be honest. Because if he doesn't, we're going to have some really decent tokens next turn. There we go. So he can still hit us in the sky, which I'm okay with. Too bad this one comes into play tapped. Yeah, let's activate this one. And let's activate this one here. And let's just attack him for 3. He can kill it, but then he would just boost Sir Ginger. And we have noticed that his removal is mostly non-artifact, so that makes it interesting as well. Yep. So Annex entry next turn. We'll take out the flyer, and then we're in a good spot. So let's take out this one. Yep. Fine with me. Yeah, we like that. Let's get rid of the flyer here. Up, and let's just put the Inquisitor into play. And let's attack for 8. So next turn we're actually in a good spot. We can create another 3/3 token at least. Oh, now it's 4/4/5/5 token. And we have a tough cookie as well. But we are losing some life here. But let's see what happens anyway. He can pump his File Smasher. He's not doing it. That's good. Let's put the tough cookie here. Let's transform this one, making it a nice 5/5. And let's gain a little bit of life here. Done. And let's try and see if we can't push him a little bit. Yep. Okay. So, Laughing Jasper Flint. That's our next target. So at knife point, this card we've tried ourselves, and I like it. It does have some decent added value here. Let's get rid of that Jasper Flint, that's the one that's going to hurt us most, I think. Let's put a 1/1 counter on something here. Yeah, let's put it on this one. And let's attack with these 4. We are forcing him to block because he is starting to get low. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he loses 1 life. He gets some card draw. So we are low on our life, but we do have the pressure on the board here. So, yeah, really nice. Oof. So as you can see, this adds up really fast. Discard a card. Sacrifice a non-land permanent. Let's sacrifice this one. Really nice what he did there. Let's activate that one. Let's put a counter on something. Let's put it on this one. And let's go to combat. Let's go to combat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 6 attackers. So he has enough blockers right now to deal with them. We don't have enough to really push him into the corner. Lucky for us, he seems to be blocking most of it. Yeah, let's end the turn here. Depending on what he does, we could sacrifice Tough Cookie, which is also the reason I didn't attack with him. Good game. Alright. So, low to the ground does seem to pay off. I'm still thinking Delny would work really well in this deck. I'm going to play one more, and that's it for tonight. I really think Delny would work really well in this deck. I only have 2 of him, so I'm really considering putting in a 3rd one. I think he might even work better in this deck than the Loyal Steed. If we had 1 green. Yeah, let's keep 6 here. That's the card we wanted to try out. But right now, I really don't want to get rid of him. Yeah, right now we have to stick with our strategy, which is exactly what we have kept, being artifact interaction. So step 1 is going to be Yoti and Dissident. Step 2 is going to be this one, and step 3, this one, which would put us into a decent spot. And there we go. And Eccentric also helps out a little bit. So yeah. Okay, he's gonna play some remove. Yeah, Deep Cavern Bat, and with black means he also has some decent removal. So we could be in trouble here. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's the Annex. No, I want this one first. He probably has removal. If he does, that's too bad. If he doesn't, that's to our advantage. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, that's the removal. still. Yeah, okay. So we don't need land, that's for sure. So let's put this one into play, and let's end the turn here. So next turn my plan is actually pylons and both creatures, and then we have a pretty decent hit, depending on what our opponent does. He doesn't do much. Yeah, let's keep that. Yeah, let's do that one first. Does he have removal or not? No, he doesn't. And let's just hit him. Alright. So, cut downs can hurt us. Another typical removal is the one destroy target non-artifact creature. That card really doesn't do much against us because most of our creatures are in fact. Oh, ossification also is a nice card. Yeah. Smart move. No blocks here. Nothing we can do about that. That is a little more terrifying. Let's put this one in here. It's nice to have an extra blocker. And we get another 4 life. Here comes the big one. Yeah, there we go. He's playing it for the full 6. Why not? He does have the mana for it. Flying, that was to be expected. Yep. Oh. That does change things a little bit, doesn't it? That changes it. Let's attack with those two. He can't block. He couldn't block those two, so that was nice. Yep. Another cut down. Okay. Probably gonna get flying to something. Or lifelink. What's it gonna be? Flying again. There we go. Yep. Nothing we can do about that. Yeah, he's keeping one back. We can block this one. But that's all we can do. So we're not in a good spot here. Let's activate this one as well. That's a 3/3. And then, just because we can, let's attack with 3 creatures here. Yep, I was expecting him to block that one. He still gave us some life. That's the card we were waiting for. Good. So the question is, are we going to go for the Steel Seraph or are we going to go for the Deep Cavern Bat? Probably for the Seraph because we don't have the mana for... Oof. Yeah, we're in trouble here. Pretty big. let's just block this one. We know what we're going to draw. Yep. That's one land. We don't really have a choice here, do we? Let's get rid of this one then. And let's just hit him for 3. That's right, the steel's there if we couldn't because its mana cost 6. I forgot that. Well, too bad. This one we could later on. It's going to cost us 3 life though. So, yeah. And this one we can't get rid of either. That's an annoying card to be dealing with. So it looks like this is going to be game. I'm afraid we are in trouble here. I don't really see a solution here. I would have expected him just to give it flying, but he didn't. Curious. Yeah. Why didn't you just give it flying, my friend? That would have won you the game. Oh well. That would have won him the game. I don't really understand why he didn't, but okay. Done. We don't really have a choice. Solve, take action, and then gain 3 life. No attacks. Now the question is, does he see it this time or doesn't he? Because last turn he actually could have just hit us in the air and we couldn't have blocked him. This turn he can do exactly the same thing. Just not sure why he isn't. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go. Good game. Nothing we can do about that. So yeah, that was it. Not a spectacular night. So yeah, not a spectacular night, not really a good night either. We did play a few games, but most of all we did get to see what bloomborrow has to offer, and it's really impressive set. I like it very much. I've been hearing a lot of things about the set that people telling me that, oh yeah, it doesn't have much power, this and that. I've already been looking at some cards for my commander decks, and I can tell you right now, my opponents in the local game stores won't be happy when I start playing those cards. So yeah, let's just see what we can do with them here in Standard later on. So take care, have fun, and see you next time. Bye bye.